July 21st, 1979, a 14-year-old boy went missing. 4 days later, another teenage boy also disappeared. Both boys were found on July 28th. They had been murdered. Their bodies were left in a wooded area, just 150 feet away from each other. Little did the police know that this would be the start of a series of murders that would haunt Atlanta for decades to come. From 1979 to 1981, within a period of 22 months, 29 black children and young adults were murdered in the streets of Atlanta. The police would arrest Wayne Williams in connection to 2 of the murders. He would later be convicted and sentenced to life in prison. From 1979 to 1981, within a period of 22 months, 29 black children and young adults were murdered in the streets of Atlanta. Parents residing in the communities had become increasingly aware of the danger. Many imposed curfews on their children. Despite their precautions, many children continued to go missing. All of the victims were African Americans. The circumstances of their deaths varied. Some were strangled, others were beaten or stabbed. Some were even shot. Worse, there were a few victims whose cause of death were undetermined. Many African American communities in and around Atlanta felt frustrated by the lack of action from the Atlanta Mayor Maynard Jackson and the police. So the parents decided to join forces and formed the Committee to Stop Children's Murders. Their purpose was to push police to become accountable for the stalled investigation of the murdered children. Fortunately, their move worked. The police increased the size of the manpower used in the investigation, as well as the amount of the reward money for tips. More importantly, people from the communities became more active in safeguarding their children. However, it was inevitable that there would still be some children that would slip through the cracks. One of them was 13-year-old Clifford Jones, who was merely visiting the city from Cleveland. He disappeared on August 20th, 1980. He was later found, strangled behind a dumpster located at the back of the former Hollywood Plaza shopping center. His murder garnered the attention of national media, pushing the Atlanta authorities into action. The FBI was officially requested to join the investigation. 5 of the top homicide detectives in the country were asked to consult, and there were 2 U.S. Justice Department officials present to provide support. With the help of an expert from the FBI Behavioral Sciences Unit, they profiled the murders. The children, all of whom had been of African American descent, had vanished in broad daylight in fairly public areas, but their bodies were found in desolate locations. However, they were all within a particular geographic parameter. The suspect is likely to be someone black, allowing him to easily access the children of the community without arousing suspicion. All of these suggest that the perpetrator was a killer acting alone. As the police continued to investigate, they found that many of the bodies had the same yellow-green nylon fiber on them. The lack of other evidence pushed the detectives to focus on this fiber, hunting down the manufacturer. Unfortunately, this lead and its significance were reported by the media, which may have caused the killer to suspect that he was going to be discovered. So, the killer started to change his M.O. Instead of desolate areas, he began to dump the bodies in the Chattahoochee River in order to wash away any evidence. Because of this, the task force started staking out several bridges at night, just waiting for the killer to take action again. On May 22, 1981, the detectives' actions paid off. One of the officers heard a splash beneath a bridge. Another one noticed a white 1970 Chevrolet station wagon turning around and driving back across the bridge. The vehicle was later stopped by 2 police cars around half a mile from the bridge. The driver was identified as 23-year-old Wayne Bertram Williams. Now, before we continue with the case, let's find out more about our killer. Growing up, Williams was known to be intelligent and interested in radio and electronics. However, his childhood was marked by some troubling behaviors and he had a reputation of being a loner. In childhood, Wayne displayed several concerning behaviors, was known for being manipulative and deceitful, often lying to get what he wanted. There was reports of him being overly controlling and having a fascination with crime and police work, which some found unsettling. Williams graduated from Douglas High School and did not complete college. He was not married and did not have any children. Williams remained somewhat of a loner, which was consistent with his childhood behavior. He worked various jobs, primarily focusing on his interests in radio and music production. He attempted to establish a career as a music promoter and talent scout, but he never achieved significant success in these endeavors. There is no public record indicating that Wayne Williams was ever formally diagnosed with a mental disorder or received treatment for any such condition. Now, back to the case. According to Williams, he was a music promoter and freelance photographer, and he was on his way to audition a woman named Cheryl Johnson, who lived in the town of Smyrna. However, the police could not find any record of the woman or of the appointment. 2 days later, the body of Nathaniel Cater, 27, was found in the river, floating just a few miles away from where the police had seen the station wagon. Williams soon became the prime suspect. According to reports, the officers who had stopped Williams that night noticed a pair of gloves and a 24-inch nylon cord on his passenger seat. The cord looked similar to the ligature marks that the investigators found on Cater and other victims. Not only that, but it was also later discovered that Williams used to give out flyers inviting young people ages 11 to 21 to audition for his new singing group. That's not all. When the investigators finally traced the manufacturer of the fiber, they matched it with the type of carpet that was inside Williams' home. Aside from the carpet, fibers from a bedspread and yellow blanket from Williams' bedroom, as well as dog hairs from his family's mixed-breed German Shepherd, were found on the victims. There were also some testimonies from witnesses that claimed to have seen Williams with some of the dead children. Moreover, Williams had failed the FBI's polygraph test a number of times. Due to all of these, Wayne Williams was arrested on June 21st that year. However, he could only be directly linked to 2 of the murders: Nathaniel Cater and Jimmy Ray Payne, aged 22, both of whom were adults. The trial began on January 6, 1982. Williams was convicted of the murder of the 2 young men on February 27th. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. Coincidentally, or not, the murders stopped as soon as Williams was arrested, and there has not been nothing like them since.